Tonight, opposition grows against government's decision to ban export of grains as farmer unions across the country unite to fight the emergency intervention imposed as part of a raft of measures to avert a full-blown food security crisis.
Government needs to justify why such an amount of money is required. So we are against the import that they want to go in for, purchases at the farm gate from exporters. So they are going to deny these people access to direct income. Okay. And this must not be the case.
Banning of exports in the past, this is not the first time, but they were not fully complied with.
We are live across the country as the Ghana Armed Forces deploy to enforce the export ban. And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies. Holy insecticide spray and coil. Have a holy sleep. Now, tonight, opposition is growing against government's decision to ban the export of grains. Farmer unions across the country are uniting to fight the emergency intervention imposed as part of a raft of measures to avert a full-blown food security crisis. This is in response to the ongoing dry spell that has devastated agricultural production in 8 regions. The ban will affect rice, maize, and soya beans. An assessment of the impact of the dry spell on the 8 regions reveal nearly 500,000 farmers have directly been affected, with 10.4 billion cedis in revenue already lost. The Agric Minister, Brian Champon, says this measure will ensure food security.
So earlier on, I talked about those at risk being 928,523. The 435,872 are those that have been confirmed as affected as at 20th August, and the audit is still ongoing. With the projected shortfall in grain supply, government will tap into the ECOWAS grain reserve and partner with the private sector to bridge the gap. Government will also bring in 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice to provide food support to vulnerable farmers who have lost their crop, and also for the market. Additionally, we will bring in a total volume of 26,000 metric tons of poultry feed to directly support the poultry industry, as maize, their main raw material, has been severely affected.
And today we're hearing from a lot more farmer unions who have been speaking about the imposition of this particular ban. And we're also learning a bit more about the deployment of the military across the country to enforce this particular ban that we had the ministry announce yesterday. A few other measures that the ministry is tonight implementing beyond just the ban on the export of the grains. The ministry, as we now know, will be giving out some 1,000 cedis per hectare to farmers who are affected by this across the country, and there are concerns already been raised by some of the farmers. And we also know that the government has approved some $500 million that the finance minister has been asked to raise to finance the emergency interventions. That comes down to some 8 billion cedis. The minority in parliament today have been raising questions about that. They're asking for transparency as they raise questions around possible abuse in the midst of the political climate. Also from the budget, they would have to secure some 2.5 billion cedis from the contingency fund to back this initiative that the government is putting up. We'll hear from the minority pretty shortly, as they've also been raising their own issues about this particular issue in the across the country. We'll be hearing from some of the farmers themselves on the ground who are speaking to us about the devastation that this has caused to their farmlands. But listen to the Agric Minister, who has been detailing to us when they expect the food shortages to start and when they hope they can get in the first emergency grains import that they are now mobilizing from the sub-region. This is Brian Champon.
So that our grains are protected for the benefit of Ghana.
Based on your estimations, I heard you talk about food shortage. How soon do you expect all of us to start feeling that impact?
So the transitional zone harvest and the northern harvest should come in around the 20th of September. In fact, the early, those who planted early, we should have been seeing their grains on the market in Tamale by now. Clearly, there are no grains on the market now. But we should have the full impact by the end of September. And that is why we are putting in the interventions now to ensure that by September, we have enough grains on the market to ensure that we don't have food shortages or distortions on our food price systems.
Where are we sourcing the additional grains we require? I hear you say we may be importing.
Well, first of all, on maize, we have stakeholder partner countries that we work with. We're tapping into our ECOWAS grain reserve. We contribute to the ECOWAS grain reserve. Ghana contributes. Indeed, some of the reserve warehouses are in Ghana that last year when we had a bumper harvest, we invested in. So we're going to tap into the ECOWAS grain reserve. We also have what we call program grains.
And that is what government is planning to do, to get the grains in before the crisis hits hard with the food shortages, as the ministry itself is now projecting towards the end of September. Now we also know that the military is involved today. The forces are being deployed to enforce the ban on the export of grains. Yesterday we got a bit more clarity on this from the Defense Minister himself, Dominic Nitiwo.
Are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced so that nobody will take even a single grain out. We have the approved routes and the unapproved routes. About 80% to 90% of all exports pass through the approved routes. And so I just want to assure you that already we have a lot of security personnel from today to ensure that no truckloads of grains will leave Ghana across to anywhere. The unapproved routes, we will also get all the security agencies to ensure that even the 20% does not leave our nation. It helps us as well, because we have a big problem, which is the terrorist attacks all over across the other side. So if the ban is put in place, it's enabling us to deploy actively along the borders. It will help. But security is as good as the citizens themselves. So please take advantage of, if you see something, say something, and help the security agencies as well.
It was the Peasant Farmers Association across the country. They first raised an objection to government's directive for the ban on the export of grains. Listening to the president of the Peasant Farmers Association, who was speaking to us, Basma Tete.
The approach is a bit premature in our opinion. I think that the process to do that was not consultative, to ensure that farmers don't suffer the adverse effects of the impending ban. You know, this is not the first time government has tried to announce the ban on cereals, especially maize and soya. And you realize that anytime these bans are announced, the effect is that farmers suffer low prices. Because what this ban does is that it limits the number of buyers who are available to buy produce from farmers. And what it does is that farmers are now being compelled to sell at low prices, which do not make up for their cost of production. Because I heard you mention that if you're a farmer and you have your produce and you want to sell, you can contact any of the agri directors or the district agri directors, but at what price? And at what price would they sell that produce, or would they buy the produce from the farmer? We do not know. What is the guarantee that when the farmers go, the price that they will offer a price that makes sense to the farmer? So the best thing we could have done was to at least set a minimum price that the government is ready to buy at price A or at price B. If the farmer realizes that the price is competitive, I can tell you that there is no motivation for any farmer to go and sell outside.
On the line with me right now is Edward Caraway, member of the General Agricultural Workers Union. He's also the immediate past General Secretary of GAU. Also with me is Anthony Morrison. He's the CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness. Thank you, gentlemen, for the time here on Top Story. And Mr. Morrison, start with you. You're opposed to the ban that was announced by government yesterday, which is being enforced as we speak right now. Why, though? This is an emergency situation.
Yes, thank you very much. Very good evening to your cherished listeners. Yes, I think that we at the Chamber find the ban a bit unnecessary. We think it's a knee-jerk reaction from government. If you look at the data the government is putting across, you are importing 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice. Our national consumption for maize is around 3.2 million metric tons, with a deficit around somewhere 900,000 metric tons. And we're also looking at the rice around 1.92 million metric tons, with a deficit almost 1 million metric tons. What we are looking at currently, the data we are looking at currently, does not support a ban. If you look at how the grain trade sector works, if you look at the boundaries, of the country, especially in the north, you realize that there are a lot of warehouses around those boundaries. This is a national security issue. The kind of ban that you would have expected to take place shouldn't be what we are expecting, even though the situation is quite severe to say. But we have done production in the major season last year. We've done production in the minor season last year. And we know that warehouses, those in the grain sector, do hold grains across all the boundaries or the borders of the country. This is the time to engage the grain traders, the Ghana Grains Council and all the other traders, to engage them so that we mop up grains out of the system.
Yeah, but if you're mopping up, then you must stop people from taking the grains out before you mop up.
Okay.
Because the natural thing for any profit-seeking individual to do when you know there's a crisis is to send your grains to countries where you can get the best price.
Even people have also invested their money directly into production for export purposes. And so you are going to make companies and other investors who have invested into grain production like soya and maize for export default in their export. Okay, so sometimes some of these reactions need enough consultation with the private sector and organizations that are concerned.
Yeah, but a few people may lose some money, but isn't that for the general good?
This is investment that we're talking about, people's investment. You see, if we have done the right thing, for instance, 2.8 billion was invested between 2017 to 2022 on PFJ1, okay? And PFJ2, we have budgeted almost close to 3-point-something billion. Why are we expanding $8 billion? What is the justification for 8 billion cedis, which is $500 million, at the point where we are actually supposed to be mitigating this, the Bagri Dam issues, the drought issues in the north, and some parts of the south and the Savannah forest area? What we are saying is that, yes, you can mop up grains from the system. What are we doing with buffer stock? We haven't spoken about what does buffer stock have? Does buffer stock have enough?
Yesterday, the minister clarified that the buffer stock hasn't got enough, and that is why they're mobilizing grains from the sub-region. So here is Ghana going across the sub-region to mobilize grains, and yet you have a situation, if you don't impose this ban, where your own farmers are exporting these grains to the same countries in the sub-region where you're going to mobilize emergency grains back to come and feed your own people.
Yes, Evans, our rural folks ostensibly also depend ultimately on grains purchased directly from them. If government can pay the same price as is being purchased from them, so be it. Because when you don't do this sort of project work, what will happen is that you are going to put a number of farmers and push them further into the economic deprivation.
And Mr. Morrison, stay with me. I want to bring in Edward Carrier, who is also on the line with me. He's the immediate past General Secretary of the Agricultural Workers Union and himself a farmer. Mr. Carrier, yes, the point about making sure the government pays farmers who have grown grains locally a fair price for this. But what if government can't afford to pay them that fair price because of the crisis that we know that the economy is already in? Isn't it the case, if all of you are making this push, of profit over the public good? Mr. Kaiwe?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm saying good evening.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I think one has to appreciate where we are now. I don't think that, unlike previous decisions of government to ban export of grain outside this country, this particular one is on more or less on a state of emergency. You know, unless we disagree with government about the level of devastation that this drought has caused to our food security and our farms and so on. So I think that the ban is necessary because the point must be made clearly that government has made a point that they are going to deploy a number of resources and that they are also seeking support from our development partners, which will be both in kind and in cash. So, for instance, why would government import about 300,000 metric tons of maize, come into the country, and does not ensure that such grain does not get out of the country? And then, in addition to that, all food that is within the country must be secured. And how do you secure it? You secure it by closing your borders. You know, so I know certainly that individuals, maybe very few farmers who do direct exportation will suffer probably if they get low prices. But you see, when it comes to matters of national interest, you need to temper national interest versus against individual interest or few interests. So the point about placing the ban for some of us is timely. The only challenge probably we have, and I listened to the Minister for Defense yesterday. I had the chance to listen to all of them. You know, they were very passionate, but that they would deploy the security at our borders to deal with the smuggling, to enforce the ban. The question I'm asking is, I'm so surprised that today our nation has got all the resources and they are deploying security to stop, to enforce the ban. When we sat in this country and allowed fertilizers to be smuggled out openly, and even animals got involved in the smuggling, and we come out and lament that even animals were involved in the smuggling, but we could not do anything.
It wasn't an emergency situation then, so it didn't warrant the deployment of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Yes, I'm saying that if we do that, that was the time that we actually needed to deploy them, because if we had done that and those fertilizers were not smuggled out and were invested in the country, I don't think that our food situation would have been what it is today. Secondly, just recently, we have heard about massive smuggling of cocoa outside this country. I don't know whether cocoa, the role of cocoa in our economy is not well known to us. You know, it's the mainstay of our economy. So why would we sit down and allow the smuggling of cocoa to the point where it threatens the cocoa industry? And we do not do anything. Now, again, even in this country, we always talk about our borders are porous. which simply means that there are unapproved rules that we are unable to, we don't have the men and the women to police all the borderline and so on. Certainly, we think that we are capable of doing that.
So your demand is that you also want the government to deploy the military to enforce the ban around the smuggling of cocoa. Exactly
that. Because we want it not only to be on this ban, but any other economic activity that is illegal, that is smuggling cocoa outside, should be nipped in the bud. So we want the government to use the security to do all these things. And even for some of us, we don't even want only the ban. There are other things that are threatening agricultural production. Even though this is an emergency and we are dealing with it, by the time we finish dealing with the emergency, some other illegal activities like galamsey would have caused more harm again to our agricultural system than we have now. So whilst we are dealing with the ban on the borders and so on, we should also deploy our security agencies to deal with galamsey so that we can contain the galamsey and preserve the agricultural infrastructure like water bodies, the forest, and then agricultural farms and vegetation that can be used for agriculture in the future.
Government yesterday announced that it will be paying farmers who have lost a lot in the wake of the devastating drought across the northern part of the country, 1,000 cedis per hectare. Is that fair?
Well, it's very difficult to say fair, but one could just say that they could be given more. But you see, because I listened to the press statement myself, I listened to them. They also say that even though these interventions are being made by government, it is not adequate to completely restore the farmers back to their former state before the drought. And for that thing, we all agree with. So what we only should be expecting government to do is not about the laudable policies that they've outlined, but to make sure that they implement this policy to the letter and also stop the political patronage that characterized previous programs of this nature, and this is what we need to do to make sure that any person who is involved in diversion of inputs to or grain to people who do not deserve it should be punished severely, and even make sure that it does not occur. But in the event that someone manages to tamper with the system, that person should be punished severely.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm pretty sure you heard Anthony Morrison, who is the CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness, who is still with me. Mr. Morrison, that is a view that from Edo Caraway, and government shares that view that if people are caught either smuggling implements that are banned from export or people caught smuggling, and in this very case, exporting grain, they should be dealt with. And the defense minister says that is exactly what's going to happen. Do you accept that?
Yes, obviously. Evans accept that, but we should also be very careful how this ban also have the tendency to bring shock in our food production and food pricing. If we decide to go the way we want to go, what it will do is that it will reduce next year's production unless we show up public expenditure more for the agriculture sector.
How so, though? How will it reduce next year's production?
Because farmers are very sensitive to food prices, okay? And what influences farmers' productivity of one commodity or the other is as a result of one going higher the previous season, and then the next season they go in there to produce, to catch up with the increasing prices so they can make a windfall. If that is not done carefully, what we'll do is that we should be ready to import more food the subsequent season and next year. We should also be very careful how we stimulate this, because it can, the poultry value chain depends entirely on grains and cereal. It can also disrupt the poultry value chain. There'll be losses of jobs, and also it will also stimulate economic growth to the negative direction.
Do your members have grains in stock?
No. because most of the grains have been purchased currently by the ongoing program on the MasterCard Foundation and also on the SPRS, the Food System Resilience Program for the poultry farmers. So there is not enough in there, but we can actually mop up some in the northern part and the Brong-Ahafo regions. That I can assure you that can be done.
For those members of your chamber who still have grains in stock, will they sell it to the government as the government mops up?
If government comes up with the right price, they would.
What's the right price?
Currently, as you speak, if you look at the exchange, soya is going from, it used to be 480. Now it has jumped from last month to almost 940 to 1,000 metric tons. Then also we're looking at prices on the maize also have gone up from 600, selling around 800. So if government comes in with the right intervention, I'm sure members of the chamber, members of the commercial grain farmers and all other producers will be ready to sell to government.
Thank you very much. That is Anthony Morrison, the CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana. Edward Carraway is a member of the General Agricultural Workers Union. Gao is immediate past General Secretary of the Union too. I want to hear from you on the 05511119997. For the minority, though, they are asking for full transparency around government's disbursement of some 8 billion cedis that the president has authorized and that the emergency measures announced yesterday. Listen to the minority spokesperson on the Greek, Mr. Chisau.
Unless we are given and provided an implementation and a disbursement plan, that we are convinced that money's disbursement is supposed to tackle the food insecurity situation that we are facing now. But when you start with saying that you are banning food exportation, you see, we don't even have exportation of the grains as we speak now. We are not exporting maize. We are not exporting rice. We are not exporting soya. So what are you banning? What is the implication of these policy measures, or if you like, this soldier man kind of measure on our food security situation? We are importing tomato from neighboring countries. We are importing onions from them. Now, there's the same drought has been occasioned in those countries as well. Just imagine a situation where they decide to also write and ban the exportation of these to our country. Do you know where we will be? When we have evidence that you've already injected 3.2 billion, and this is where it has brought us, you are going to inject additional 8 billion. We are scared that this is just another avenue to repeat what happened in COVID-19 support from the global community.
And that there is Godfred Seydou Gisal, the minority spokesperson on a Greg. News Night in a minute.
Everybody likes money, but what do we like more than money? More money! Join the Telecel More Money promo and win money, more money, and even more money. Simply opt in for free and reload your mobile and broadband and be the lucky winner of the 1 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Also win cash prizes of up to 3 million Ghana cedis in the daily and weekly draw. Opt in for free by dialing *500# or send WIN to 500, or you can opt in on the Telecel Play app. The more you reload, the higher chances of winning in the Telecel More Money promo. Keep loading, win, and be a millionaire.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears. Bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me da with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of 2. My work keeps me busy most of the time and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Do you want a healthy smile?
Are you concerned about your child's dental health? Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. We believe in establishing good oral hygiene habits early is essential for your child's long-term dental health. Baby teeth, also called primary teeth or milk teeth, will fall out and be replaced by permanent teeth starting at around 6 years old. So it's tempting to think that primary teeth are not important, but in reality, those baby teeth are very important. Your child's first dental visit will include a complete exam, cleaning, and a fluoride treatment to protect the teeth. Your dental office should ensure that your child's dental visit is comfortable, gentle, and welcoming. Schedule your first dental visit today and give them the gift of a lifetime of healthy smiles.
Healthy smile.
It's 2 days to the Joy News National Dialogue on Defending Media Freedom ahead of the December polls. Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight, one of Ghana's protected forest draw reserve in the Zima East District of the Western Region invaded by an unidentified miner, raising fears about what could mark the beginning of a chain of forest degradation in the area.
If we destroy this resource, how are we going to live?
Parliament goes months without a functioning fire tender. On the day part of the Job 600 was ravaged by fire. The chief fire officer says the tender had been undergoing repair and will soon be back in Parliament.
We are aware that the fire tender station here in Parliament has developed some fault.
Of course.
It's undergoing servicing.
Yeah, exactly.
When is it returning?
Oh, very soon. Within the week, it will return.
We have the very latest from the preliminary investigations commenced by the fire service on today's fire that engulfed part of the Job 600 building in Parliament. Also tonight, heat at the National Peace Council's meeting with prophets in Ghana, with Nigel Gazy taking on the council, describing them as sensationalist and selective and only active during election years.
Peace Council only finds a voice when it's getting to election. The Peace Council is sessionalist. The Peace Council, as it were, focuses the interests of just a few. We should appreciate that peace is not found in a vacuum.
Well, the Peace Council has been fighting off the claims.
In the night, moving into the house of politicians, calling them at dawn, meeting them at different places, just to ensure that we can get this thing done. NDC said they will not go to IPAC. It took us 3 years to negotiate with NDC. Finally, they've gone to IPAC. Nobody talks about it.
And John Mahama delivers scathing critique of Baomia's media engagement, accusing the NPP flag bearer of peddling falsehood, especially his response to whether the economic fundamentals have exposed the exchange rate under the NPP.
Somebody who can speak like AK-47. Suddenly media encounter, I think, the fundamentals are weak. And then it went logoligi.
We have the very latest from that, plus the Vice President's campaign in the Greater Accra region.
And in business, some rice farmers cast doubts about effectiveness of ban on some exports of grains to avert food shortage.
And in sports, we hear from President of the Ghana Football Association, Kati Kreko, who's been advocating strongly for tax waivers and increased funding to boost the development of sports in the country.
And I'll take you to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital later as the facility suspends elective surgeries and relocates emergency cases amid efforts to repair malfunctioning elevator in the surgical building.
From last year, we noticed that there was a frequent breakdown of the lifts, so we decided to procure new. So actually, we are in the procurement process, trying to procure new. But we're told that for this kind of lifts, you even from the time of ordering to installation, it takes a minimum of about 6 months. That's what we're told. So
we have details of that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Your thoughts, your comments are very much welcome. It's via WhatsApp is 05511119997. We are live on X Spaces. You can leave a comment there with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu.
My name is Mensah. Let's start tonight with that Galamsey menace. We're hearing that one more forest reserve, one that previously we didn't know to have been touched, has now been touched now by the icy cold hand of Galamsey, one of Ghana's major protected forests, the Jura Bonsu in the Nzima East District of the Western Region. Draw River Forest Reserve has now been touched and has been invaded by what we understand by an unidentified miner in what could mark the beginning of a chain of forest degradation through illegal mining. Part of the forest has been cleared and excavators moved to the site ready for operation.
Well, management of Better Land Ghana Services legal owners of a concession in the forest has denied knowledge of this particular invasion. Well, my colleague Erastus Asare Donko went to the ground to assess the situation for himself. Here's his report.
Quality forest reserves have in recent times been attacked and destroyed illegally for gold. Powerful individuals, including politically exposed persons, have turned reserved forest like Apawasa and Apamprama into miles of useless pits and gullies. The Draw River Forest Reserve is perhaps next in line. It is a protected area located in the western region of Ghana, established in 1954. It covers an area of approximately 52,800 hectares. The Draw River Forest Reserve is now under siege.
We are in the middle of a very rich, dense forest which has been standing. It's called the Draw River Forest Reserve. It's been around 4 centuries, named after this beautiful river flowing through the forest, and it's within the Nzima East municipality of the Western region. Now, we are learning that this forest, a part of it, has been given to Better Land Ghana Limited for mining, and we are here to find out who has started doing exploration services and clearing the forest for mining.
Typical of the start of the destruction of other forests, the miners have initiated test protocols, cleared portions of the forest, and are in the process of transporting excavators and cabins into the forest for the start of an onslaught. This farmer, a native of Jurabanso, speaks of the value of this green ancient resource.
1974 to 1975.
1975. This is what gave us a road network from Asasetre to Banso. The road brought in investors in the timber industry, which gave us royalties to develop the town.
Tumpon, because timber no amasika yenso yenyabi yede buakru no. Na obetutu ase na wo se no kra.
If you destroy this resource, how are we going to live? Some of us get raw materials from this forest to survive.
He echoes the resolve of the youth to protect the forest, asking government to act.
I will tell leaders of this country to sit up and protect the Draw River Forest Reserve. They are using the president's name, President Akufo-Addo's name, to destroy the forest. He should step his foot down and do something, as he promised to protect forests in this country.
President Ghana said, draw forest in
Legally, portions of the Draw River Forest Reserve have been awarded to Better Land Limited for mining, but they have denied any claims to the current invasion of the forest.
Many of the forest reserves that have been degraded, Apamprama, Apawasa, started like this. A clearing, testing for minerals, and before you realize, excavators are in there and the whole place is gone. For now, we do not know who has started this within the Draw River Forest Reserve. We demand answers. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Draw River Forest Reserve in Zema East, Western Region.
Well, let's bring in Erastus Asaredonko himself. He's been on the ground for some time now before putting this particular report together. Erastus, I'm sure you've been finding out from authorities. I've been hearing that interaction. What exactly and who exactly could have given this unidentified miner the permit to go into Draw River Forest Reserve?
I'm getting conflicting responses. Through my sources at the Forestry Commission, I'm getting information that they have given some exploration permit to Better Land Ghana Services, and today.
Well, Erastus, you were concluding on that in terms of the conflicting reports that we're getting before that interruption.
Well, so I'm saying that what information we are getting, the Forestry Commission indicates that they have given rights, permits for exploration Better Land development. And I understand that they've even given them the right to use the excavator. So we know that the exploration services are done by methods aside using heavy equipment. But Better Land Ghana Services is saying, I spoke with them, they are saying that they do not know who has invaded the forest, and they are not the ones in there doing that exploratory activity. And so for now, it's clear who has invaded the forest, who is trying to enter, and who is trying to do mining in the forest at the moment. And that is what we are searching answers for. I think the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission needs to come clear on who is in there and who has been given the right to start mining there.
And are there any indications that there are any moves to actually find out who is doing this?
We've been trying. We're not getting any answers yet. Perhaps in the course of the week, we'll get answers. But we've seen 3 excavators on site. A cabin belonging to the people was there. A large clearing of the forest, indicating that they want to pitch camp and start mining. And so we are keeping touch base on the ground. We have learned that some Chinese nationals, soon after our visit to the forest, came to park the excavators and they want to take it away, but the youth there wanted to notify the police of their presence because they want them arrested. We are still in touch with them to find out how this is to go.
Well, that's Erastus Asaredonko. Definitely will be following up on this particular issue for you. But thankfully, the MC for Nzema East, Eric Essien, has joined us on the line. And we're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. Mr. Essien, I'm sure this particular incident has been brought to your attention. Are there any moves to find out what exactly is happening in the Draw River Forest? Hello, Mr. Essien.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Essien. So we are asking about this particular incident in the Draw River Forest Reserve. We are told there are some unidentified miners in this particular reserve. Do you know about this situation?
Thank you very much. What I know is about a certain company called Better Land Ghana. They have the mining lease, but they have not started work yet. But I don't know any miner over there. I don't know anything about it. So I will inform the music just tomorrow morning that this information I had from the Grand Forest, Grand FM. So I'll make sure to go there with the management, with the music, and I'll give you the information later because I don't know any person, any miner over there, apart from the Better Land Ghana. And they have not started work yet because I have their paper on my table that they have given them mining lease, and I read all their papers. But apart from the Better Land Ghana, I don't know any company over there, and I don't know that somebody's working over there. So I will make sure that within the week, I'll go there with the music and search for the one doing the work over there. And I'll give you the report. Thank you very much.
You must be surprised at the development then.
Hello?
I'm asking if you're surprised at the news about this particular unidentified minor in the area.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know that somebody is working over there. The one I know them is the Better Land Company, a big company, but they have not started work. And yeah, they have not started work. So if someone is working there, that I don't know. So unless I go there, so that's why I said I will inform the music just tomorrow morning. I will do that, and we will find a time within this week. By the close of this week, we will go there, even with the police.
Grateful. And that's Eric Kessian, is the MC for Inzima East Assembly. They're giving us updates on this. Of course, something we'll be following up on with Erasto Sosari-Donko and the team on this particular situation at the Draw River Forest Reserve.
And you're still live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. And I want to hear from you tonight on the stories we've done so far, including this particular issue with Galamsey. But I want to take you to Parliament now, where prior to this morning, when parts of the Job 600 building was ravaged by fire, the house, we now know, had gone months without a functioning fire tender. The house used to have a standby fire tender to respond to fire outbreaks. Joy News has been learning that the tender was not functioning and has now been confirmed by the Chief Fire Officer, Julius Kono. Now, the Chief Fire Officer also provided an update on the fire incident in Parliament.
Investigations has begun and will come out with the cause of the fire in due course.
This is not the first time we are recording a fire incident on the same complex. How concerning is that?
Yes, fire, we can never predict. Anything can happen. So you should not doubt that. That's why you have all kind of things there. Anything could happen to cause fire.
We are aware that the fire tender station here in Parliament has developed some fault.
Of course.
It's undergoing servicing.
Yeah, exactly.
When is it returning?
Oh, very soon. Within the week, it will return. Fortunately, we have stations around to cover the place. So there's no problem.
Well, parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante is with me in the studio. How long exactly has this fire tender been out of service?
Well, it's been months now. In fact, for 2 meetings, the fire tender, which is always stationed under the Justice 100, that space has not been there. And in fact, where the fire outbreak happened today is just at the top of where the fire tender that is usually in Parliament usually is stationed. But this time around, it wasn't there. In fact, since a part of the end of last year, that fire tender has been unavailable throughout this year too as well. In fact, through the last meeting of Parliament that just concluded on the 31st of July, the fire tender has not been around. And the fire system in Parliament seems to be malfunctioning. Sometimes the fire alarm will go off and then there's no fire. And so in fact, today when the fire alarms did go off in parts of the building, everybody was there sitting there thinking.
And I've been in Parliament before when the fire alarm goes off.
Yeah.
Business as usual.
Business as usual.
This happens all the time.
Yes. So in fact, the Government Assurance Committee
do they even do fire drills?
Well, since I've been in Parliament for years now, I haven't seen a fire drill in Parliament. Of course, unless they did it in my absence. But the committee meeting was about to happen when some officials came in there, rushing the chairman of the committee, Okudita Blackwell, and his members, together with the Works and Housing Minister, to get out of the committee rooms because the building adjoining the committee rooms had caught fire. And then eventually they had to be whisked away. They all came out. And a number of persons were now getting away from the Justice 100. It's a 12-floor building. Others afraid of using the elevators, and now we're using the stairs. It was a bit of a chaos this morning in the House until everyone got out safely, and the fire service brought in 3 tenders to be able to douse the flames.
What was their response time, though?
Well, they came in quite very early. In fact, we are told, and we were in the committee room when the fire did start, that the fire started around 9:30. In 5 minutes, the first fire tender had arrived from the fire service headquarters, which is not so far off from where Parliament is, by the way. They came in, then seeing that one fire tender could not do the job, they brought another one. That also could not help. They had to bring in a third to be able to fix it. The Chief Fire Officer himself was there. The Greater Accra Regional Commander was there. And with a number of men on the ground, they were able to douse the flames. And they said it wasn't safe for staff and MPs to return back to the offices up until 1 o'clock when we left there, the situation was still a bit untidy because there was still fire service, the tenders on site, just in case something ignites. ECG officials also had to come in there because of early on there was allegations and claims going around in the house that it might have been caused by a trip of power. So ECG officials, we understood, had to come and look at the situation.
Is there any clarity on that cost, though? Because I know at the time they were trying to investigate this.
Well, we haven't gotten confirmation on that. We've been trying to get officials from Parliament as well as the fire service officials to confirm that to us. They say they are investigating it, and in the coming days they'll put together what exactly happened that caused this fire events.
Thankfully, we can speak to Kate Ado, who's a coordinating director of public relations in Parliament, joins us right now. Madam Ado, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Great to have you. We know as of the morning, the fire service were trying to understand what caused this. Have you been briefed on what caused this?
They are still investigating. We are yet to be told exactly what caused the fire. I don't know who is in the studio with you, but I heard what was said. To a large extent, that's exactly what happened. But I must indicate that with the fire alarm system, it's true that it was malfunctioning some time ago. That has been fixed. And with the fire drills, we used to have regular fire drills, which we haven't had in a while, admittedly. Coincidentally, the deputy clerk in charge of information services only this week had meetings with the clerk to the effect that we need to organize one. And after last week, Friday, in the conversation that I was in, that conversation came up. So, yes, we recognize that we haven't had a fire drill in a while, but coincidentally, maybe God was trying to tell us something. We have plans to do that, and that was only last week when Gloria Saku Kumewu made arrangements for us to have that, and conversations have been had with the clerk to that effect.
So fire alarm system malfunctions at some point, it was fixed, and then used to have fire drills that also stopped for a while. Why though?
I would not be able to give a definite answer to that, but what I can tell you is that the conversation for restarting that only took place last week, and I was privy to that conversation because I was in the meeting that discussion took place. Because while we admit that yes, we haven't had it in a while, I must indicate that we are making plans to do that. And it's unfortunate that just when we thought about it, it happened less than a week after we started the conversation.
Is the Job 600 fire certificate still valid?
Sorry?
Do you know if your Job 600, the fire certificate that it to be issued by the fire service, is it still valid?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said.
The fire certificate that buildings such as yours require.
The fire certificate?
Yes, that buildings such as yours.
I will not be able to confirm that, but what I do know is that we have a parliamentary fire unit on site, for incidences like this. And that's why the response time was really quick. I mean, it could have been a lot worse than it happened, but for the presence of the fire personnel that was on site.
So even without the tender, you still had the parliamentary fire unit on site?
Yes, and we have the fire extinguishers working. They tried to kill the fire with the extinguishers, but obviously it was a bit of a challenge, and so they had to call for assistance, which happened almost immediately, like was narrated to you in the studio. And within 5 minutes, or within 10 minutes of it happening, we had 3 fire attendants there. We had the chief fire officer, the regional director, and the interior minister all on site to, assist us. And of course, we had the firemen also on site.
Yeah, I mean, so this is typical firefighting, right? But you had a parliamentary fire unit on site, stationed there permanently, and still some of the basic requirements for managing such a building when it comes to regular drills and fire alarm systems malfunctions at the time and stopped. That sounds to me like negligence.
Well, I wouldn't be able to say whether it's negligent or not. But what I can tell you is that these are things that we, as much as possible, try to pay attention to. It's unfortunate that what happened today happened, and it could
have been worse,
Sorry?
It could have been worse, considering how lapsed the fire systems in there were. It could have been worse.
It could have been worse. I don't know why.
Can you hear me?
Yes. It could have been what?
It could have been worse, considering how lapsed the systems there are, as we've now learned about.
Definitely. It could have been a lot worse had the response time not been so short and so efficient. So the fire service, I think, needs serious commendations for the way they handled everything. And we were able to evacuate everybody and to clear, at least to a clear space. And we did the evacuation in stages. We had everybody come out to the clear space, and then we had them move to the MP's car park. For the reporters and the journalists, we tried to hang around not too far from the scene so that we could catch the officials and ask them what was happening. So we actually were hanging around the administration block waiting for the chief fire officer and his men to come out and talk to us.
I mean, do you know why the fire tender that was stationed there was withdrawn?
I will have to confirm the main reason for that. But it was there for a long while. Your reporters can tell you that, and I haven't seen it in a while. But I don't know, for some reason, it sort of escaped me to ask.
And what's the damage assessment that has been done on the part of the Job 600 that was ravaged today?
So basically, the office has houses the hazard department. So we had mostly records of proceedings from the chamber. The good news is that because we have electronic backup, we are not too worried in terms of the documentation that we've lost. We can, reprint them. We are looking at there was a bit of furniture in the office, but it's only one office out of so many in the Job 600. So while it was scary, we are thankful to God that it wasn't the damage wasn't as extensive as it could have been.
And very finally, when will you open that wing to business? Has repairs begun already, and what would it going to cost?
I mean, we don't know the cost. Again, they are assessing the damage. It's one office, so all things being equal, we should be able to use the building. But of course, the fire service has advised that we avoid that side of the building for now until they come up with what may have caused the fire to start in the first place. So today, Mr. Speaker and the clerk to Parliament asked that everybody goes home and then hopefully return tomorrow. We've had an initial meeting with the fire personnel in Parliament, and they've assured us that they're working around the clock. I just left the office. They were still there, working around the clock to find out what the problem is, see if there could be a recurrence, which we're hoping not, and then, they put the measures in place to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what happened today.
Thank you very much, Madam Keitado, the Coordinating Director of Public Affairs at Parliament. I want to now bring in Alex Nate. He's a fire officer at the Public Affairs Directorate at the Ghana Fire Service and joins us right now. And Mr. Nate, thanks for your time. Whilst we've been speaking, though, I've just been alerted that there is you have another fire outbreak tonight at Malata Market. What more do you know about it?
I'm currently driving by city right now. I'm still driving to the scene. It's a very serious fire. It's very, very serious. 4 fire tenders have been dispatched from Circle, from Trade Fair, from Flagstaff House, and from Makola, who are currently, we have Circle and Flagstaff House at the scene, and we are waiting other tenders to go in to augment the efforts of these 6 tenders already at the scene.
And you're already at the scene. I know you are heading there right now, but in terms of...
I'm heading there. Yes. I'm even at a junction, Avino Junction, about going there right now.
And what are your men telling you whilst you head there? You said this is a very serious fire. Are they managing now to bring it under control?
The first thing we normally do is to try and call on ECG to catch power supply to the area. So I'm sure that is being communicated to ECG. I said now, the most important thing for us is our fire team. We do our part to make sure that we prevent the fire from further spread or from spreading to the unaffected areas, and that is what our men are currently doing at the scene.
And is this the market itself that has been engulfed?
It's a story building around the market area, so I can't give the exact location, but it's at the Malata Market, just by the roadside.
And our men ourselves, we're heading there right now. We'll try and get a bit more as you yourself we head there. But let's talk very quickly about the fire that engulfed part of Parliament today, the Job 600 building. We've learned that the fire tender there was withdrawn at some point. Do you know why?
Okay, so I can confirm that, yes, it was reassigned. It's been reassigned to Anya Fire Station. as we speak, because even though Parliament is a very important and strategic institution, we realize that we have a station very close by. That's the Ministry station, and our headquarters station is also very close by. We've always spoken about our limited resources and the need to not renege on our commitment to serve the good people of Ghana. And so we realize that from La Paz all through to Awoshi to Ablekuma to Anya and beyond, we don't have any fire coverage. So we have to be strategic in distributing our media resources. So that is not to say we undermine the efforts of Parliament, but it's as a matter of being strategic, and realize that even with today's incident, our team from our national headquarters got there in good time. In 5 minutes, they are at the scene. So that's how come we made the judgment call.
So the tender was reassigned to Anya, but your boss on the ground, when he got there, explained to us that it was withdrawn for repairs. The tender. Your boss says to us that it was withdrawn for repairs. Hello, Mr. Nate, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Nate, can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me? Oh, goodness me. Let's see if we can get him on the better line. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear loud and clear. Yes, I'm saying that your boss told us today that it was withdrawn, the tender was withdrawn for repairs.
Well, initially it was withdrawn for repairs. That was the initial reason. But then
we lost him there. And I also want to find out, Emefa, because from what we're learning from Kate, the fire alarm system malfunctioned for some time, then they had to repair it. Secondly, they also stopped the regular fire drills for some time. It was just last week that somebody just thought they should do it. And if you've been to Parliament before, I've been there before when the fire alarm went off and nobody cared because drills were not happening. And I also need to establish if indeed the Job 600 fire certificate is still valid. It's subject to renewal, and it's the renewal is based on a set of preconditions that you need to meet for it to be renewed. We need to establish if that indeed has also happened. It only takes an emergency such as this for everything to unravel. Now we're learning a bit more. Fire tender was withdrawn either for repairs or for reassignment, as we're now hearing. And then the fire alarm system malfunctions and repaired very recently. There was no fire drills for a building such as we have it there. A few more questions for the fire service to answer. While all that we're learning about this, the fire service also had on-site, permanently stationed parliamentary fire unit, although they didn't have the tender. And so they were supposed to supervise that the building is fire compliant. And whether they did that or not is another question that hopefully we can get some clarity about. Mr. Nate, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir.
And I wanted to clarify, Madam Keitado, who is a coordinating director of public relations in Parliament, tells us that the fire alarm system in the Job 600 building malfunctioned for a while. It was recently repaired. They also stopped the fire drills. It was just last week that somebody alerted that they should do one. Do you still have the parliamentary fire unit on site, permanently stationed?
Exactly. That I can confirm that we have able-bodied officers who carry out routine checks, who carry out education and drills with the occupants of Parliament.
Yeah, but if that is the case, though, why is it then that the Parliament, the building, the Job 600, went for a long time without fire drills and the fire system malfunctioned?
No, it's not been a long time because, to the best of my knowledge, I know that fire drills are carried out regularly, and then
that's not the story from Parliament.
Thorough inspection is carried out in all the buildings at the area.
Well, Kate
so that I can confirm.
Kate Aldo, who joined us just before you, confirmed that fire drills stopped for a long, long time. It hadn't been happening.
No, then there might have been some miscommunication from that end. But to the best of my knowledge, our officers there carry out regular fire drills to be able to get everyone psyched and then everyone prepared for emergency.
Well, the that there are two reports that contradict the position. Kate Addo says that had not happened for a while. My parliamentary correspondent, who is there on it every single day, says they've not done it for a long time. Myself, days I've been there, I've heard the fire alarm go off and nobody cares. Everybody's walking about doing their thing until it goes off. Clearly, something is wrong with your men on the ground enforcing what they are indeed trained to do.
No, so I beg to differ. Our men on the ground, you see, simulation exercises and drills are a collaborative effort between the fire service and then the responding or the other stakeholders that we work with. So if it hasn't, as it's been claimed that it hasn't been done in a while, then that cannot be fully attributed to our officers. Then the question would be asked that when was the last time a request was made for fire drills to be done? What I can tell you for a fact is that regular inspections are done, at Parliament. Regular inspection almost on a daily basis at Parliament. But then the unfortunate thing is that due to the sensitivity of that particular room, our men often do not get access to that particular room for inspection because of how sensitive that office is. But I can say on record that we carry out regular inspection. So, if the drills have not been carried out in a while, then it begs to ask whether, because then it calls into question, as a people, we always prioritize our security much more than our safety. Just like, I'm sure in your speech, you'd hear people every time crying that thieves are worrying them, but you hardly hear them crying that fires are worrying them. So as a people, we shift our priorities much more to security than much more to safety. So then, if it hasn't been done in a while, then I don't think our men only should share the blame. It should be whether a request has been done. So if a request has been done and our men have not responded to the drill, then I guess we can be held responsible. Other than that, then it will be a shared responsibility.
Do you know when the last drill was done?
I would have to check with our operations department. I don't have that information readily.
And you said something I wanted to clarify. You say that for a fire drill to happen, for a building like that, the owners of the building, this parliamentary service, will have to place a formal request to your men.
What I'm saying is that it's a collaborative effort. So we'll probably send in the request, or they will send in the request, and as and when the request is done, and approval will have to come from one side of the hand. So probably they might want every parliamentarian around before a drill is carried out. So we know election nearing season and the rounds associated with it. So maybe they might not have got a full house capable of already to be able to carry out a drill. So that's why I said that then it's a two-way street.
Is the Job 600 building fire compliant?
Come again, please.
Is the Job 600 building fire compliant? Does it have a valid fire certificate?
With the fire certificate, I don't have that information ready with me. But what I know is that due to the renovation that was made, there was early fire detection system that was installed. That is what even helped with alerting us about the fire for us to be able to intervene early. So I would say with having extinguishers, having smoke detectors, yes, they are compliant. But with the certificate, I don't really have that document, and I would have to follow up on that.
Thank you very much. And that day is Alex Nate, is a fire officer at the Public Affairs Directorate of the Ghana Fire Service, and that's the situation of the Job 600. A lot to still clarify if indeed fire compliant and they have a valid certificate. The Fire Service must issue that on a regular basis. George, we are faced joining me now with business.
Well, Evans, coming up, some rice farmers cast doubt over effectiveness of ban on export of some grains to avert food shortage in the coming weeks. And tax consultant Francis Timoboy fears proposed tax measures by presidential candidates, the two leading political parties, MPP and NDC, could be in conflict with the IMF program. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Synthesis Tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Kaku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Hooray! Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's back-to-school promotion is here with us once again. From August to September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10 to 20% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrade, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0506 487 557 or 0302 764 209 or via email at info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Supposed to happen, let me find the
Are you ready to turn your dreams into reality? Don't just dream it, own it with a loan from Fidelity Bank. Dreaming of a new home? Own it with Fidelity Mortgage Loan. Dreaming of smelling the scent of a brand new tear rubber car? Own it with Fidelity Auto Loan. Dreaming of getting the latest phone, TV, fridge, furniture, laptop or gaming console? Own it with Fidelity Consumer Asset Finance. Dreaming of expanding your business? Make it a reality with our business loan. Fidelity Bank is offering flexible loans to businesses, salaried workers and the self-employed at a competitive rate. Dial 0800 003355 or visit any of our branches nationwide today to turn your dream into reality with a Fidelity Bank loan. Terms and conditions apply. Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
Fidelity. If I believe with us, Fidelity. If I know I day aside, Fidelity.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Luxurious, affordable living is your right, and no one understands it better than BOT Properties. BOT Properties specializes in modern residential buildings and commercial office spaces. Our properties include the Equator, a 12-story made up of over 100 apartments near Accra Mall. Other Equator courts, we offer you the deluxe living experience with our top-of-the-range homes, high-quality homes built with style and precision to suit your lifestyle. The Equator Courts is a gated community with 2-story, 4-bedroom detached houses at Ogbojo, East Legon, near American House. Our office complexes include Zion House, Shiashi, East Legon, Zion House, Sofa Line Interchange, Kumasi. Our offices and apartments are for both rental and outright purchases at affordable prices and with flexible payment terms. Kindly contact us on 0257 960 919 or visit botproperties.com. BOT Properties, the new meaning of affordable luxury.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed *712# and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone. The luckiest.
Dial *712#. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial *712#. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win the Sika Kessie. Prizes are Kessie in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with *712#. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
*712#.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, some rice farmers are casting doubts over the effectiveness of the ban on export of some grains to avert food shortage in the coming weeks. Government has announced that it is placing a ban on export of some grains to prevent food crisis from next month. But chairman of the Competitive Africa Rice Platform, Apawu, says the porous nature of our borders might make it difficult for it to work.
We've been through that scenario several times. Since the PFJ started, and it has not really worked. The good intentions of the government and the minister is thrown out when it gets to the field. So you go out there. Those who are smuggling, it's not actually exported. They are not captured by the data collectors because they are not exporting through the well-known ports and gateways. They are exporting through the bushway, a truck at a time. And so you may have about, say, 1,000 metric tons leaving within a day from a particular district or area. And that is what is happening. And because the borders are porous, we cannot do anything to stop it from going. This is the situation we find ourselves in. So I don't think the ban will really have the effect it's supposed to have. I don't think so.
Chairman of the Competitive African Rice Platform, Apawu. Now, tax consultant Francis Timoboy fears the proposed tax cuts and measures announced by the presidential candidates of the two leading political parties, MPP and NDC, could be in conflict with the IMF program. Former President John Mahama and flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party, Dr. Mohamed Bouhami, have all promised wide-ranging tax reforms. Mr. Boy maintains that implementing some of these proposals under the IMF program might be difficult.
COVID-19 alone brings, I think 2025, we're expecting about 6 billion Ghana cedis. E-levy is going to give us around 2.5 billion cedis. If you scrap them, we must have an alternative. So certainly some of the policies are going to conflict with the IMF policy. Remember, IMF, their problem is that we are not collecting enough compared to the size of our GDP. Currently, we are around 14%, and our neighbors are doing 32%. So what is it that you have with your tax system? And that's why they always complain when we give tax exemptions to big multinationals. So clearly, if the policies as they have outlined, I agree that we need to revise our tax system. But whilst we are granting the reliefs and exemptions to stimulate the economy, we have a huge debt ahead of us, servicing the interest payment that has been suspended. So if we are...
Tax consultant Francis Timoboy. Now, accountant firm PricewaterhouseCoopers is admonishing banks to prioritize its stakeholders by investing in customer experience. A survey conducted by the accounting firm noted that speed, predictability, and results and expertise, as well as ease of access and low interest rate to customers, are the biggest concerns. Seeking to join business at the PwC Banking Customer Experience Breakfast Forum, senior country partner at PwC Ghana, Visha Shagbo, called on financial institutions to focus on enhancing customer experience.
So I think that banks need to look at their stakeholders, understand exactly what the stakeholders want, and be able to adjust their ways of working to suit the stakeholders. It's not as easy as it sounds because the stakeholder environment continues to change. And I think that's where the challenge is.
Visha Shagba is a country senior partner at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. Now, policy think tank Africa Center for Entrepreneurship and Youth Empowerment is calling for reforms in the entrepreneurship ecosystem at the launch of its 2024 Regional Entrepreneurship Freedom Index report. Chief Executive of the think tank, Emmanuel Akwa, called for reforms in government flagship SME programs.
So when we are asking for real reforms, we are saying that, look, instead of just scratching the surface and of going about partisan lines and being on the lookout for interest, personal interest, there has to be a holistic view as to how we approach the issues of entrepreneurship.
That is the Emmanuel Akwa, Chief Executive of the Africa Center for Entrepreneurship and Youth Empowerment. Now, startup firm Skin Gourmet has been adjudged as winner of the Fidelity Bank Green Tech Innovative Challenge as part of this year's Sustainability Conference. The bank began the initiative to award over 1 million cedis in grant and mentorship to some small enterprises in the agribusiness and digital innovation. Managing Director of the bank, Julian Opumi, has been speaking to Joy Business after the presentation to the winners on the sidelines of the Sustainability Conference.
Just have dialogue, but try and bring and create an ecosystem of other people that can influence the change we're looking to see. Working with NGOs, other governmental bodies, and more primarily within the private sector, people who are taking steps forward, driven by the need to also ensure that we make our planet a lot safer for the future. This year, what we decided to add on was what we had launched earlier in the year, which is our Green Tech Challenge, which is where we are seeking to find young people, young businesses who are starting to make that step and trying to make a change in their environment. And in our own small way, how do we assist them with some financial support and in some instances also with technical assistance to drive their businesses forward.
Managing Director of Fidelity Bank, Gillian Opuni, to the stock market. Atlantic Lithium was up by 15 pesos to close at 6 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos. If you have invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of this year, returns are now almost 40%. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, George. Let's do sports. Musbao, what do we have?
For just some update from GFA's 30th Ordinary Congress that just concluded at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram. And over there, the president of the association, Kete Kreku, made a compelling case for the sports sector, advocating tax waivers to support the development of the game in the country. He emphasized that such financial incentives are crucial for reducing the burden on sports organizations, enabling them to invest more in other areas.
But it has come even much clearer that without dedicated source of funding for football, our industry will struggle. Payment of 17.5% VAT on football revenue. As we speak, congressmen and women, football clubs, all of you here are charged 17.5% on VAT. True or false? Whilst other industries, including conventional entertainment, pay a flat rate of 3%. It is our request that football and football clubs, just like other entertainment providers, are levied the flat rate of 3% to give our clubs opportunities to also build our capacities.
Kete Kreku, president of the association. And for that's what we got for you in sports.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao. Now, the National Peace Council have been having collaborative dialogues with a number of institutions. At least they've done the political parties, the NDC. And today was a turn of the prophets in the country. And it took a dramatic turn when the founder of the True Word Prophetic Fire Ministries, do you know who that is?
Prophet Nigel Gacy.
Umofia, eh? Well, he took, we've been attacking, or he took on the National Peace Council, describing them as sensationalist and selective, and also just rearing up their faces when it comes to election years. Well, this is what transpired. You can listen.
Peace Council only finds a voice when it's getting to election. Again, I feel and think that the Peace Council a sessionist. The Peace Council,
as it were, focuses and champions the interests of just a few. We should appreciate that peace is not found in a vacuum. There are certain conditions, there are certain tenets that must prevail before peace, as it were, can be established. I remember I live close to Ayawasewagon. I live in East Legon. We are all in this country. We saw the happenings of Ayawasewagon. Still, I don't know when Peace Council is going to speak on it or release a communique to that effect. We are in this country, our brothers and sisters in Techimansa were killed. So today, no word from Peace Council of the Republic of Ghana.
Well, the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, has been responding.
And the Peace Council is being called. Why don't you call the president to order? Now, as I said, where is the power? Certain things, somebody will shoot somebody somewhere. The first call is Peace Council. What are you saying? The police is there. Ours is not to arrest. Somebody says that there's a case in court. Why haven't you said anything? The Peace Council has no power to withdraw a case from court. The mandate does not give us the power to do those things. Issues arise in this country. Everybody thinks it's going to bend, something is going to happen. Suddenly, it goes quiet. As soon as you see this in this country, you must know that the Peace Council has done something. And we see all kinds of things. They happen every day. Tensions rise to a certain point as if we are going to fight. Then after about 2-3 days, the whole thing dies down quietly, and as if nothing has happened. As soon as you see that, you must understand that something has happened. That is the way we work. And we use shuttle diplomacy in the night, moving into the house of politicians, calling them at dawn, meeting them at different places, just to ensure that we can get this done.
Well, Archbishop Duncan Williams was at that meeting. He has an advice for both the prophets and the politicians.
So I want to say to all the prophets and men and women of God here, we do not question your integrity or your giftings or your callings. But my advice to you is, let the good of country guide the interpretation of your prophecies. Number 2, it's not about winning. It's not about winning, but it's how you win. It's not about winning, but it's how you win. And thirdly, it's what happened after you have won. That is what we have to look at, because there are implications, serious implications, when it comes to the destiny of a country involving children, yet unborn, mothers, fathers. It's not about party. So for once, let our loyalty be for the good of country and not to our party. Because there is no party will exist in this country if anything goes wrong with this nation.
And that's the Papa.
Yes.
Bishop Duncan Williams.
Yes. Now, on Sunday, we've been talking about this media encounter. Today, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has delivered a damning verdict on that particular encounter, accusing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia of spreading lies and delivering incoherent speech at the event. Well, listen to John Dramani Mahama.
You see, when you do something with a devious intention, it backfires on you. We announced that we're going to launch our manifesto on the 24th of August. Immediately, our opponents announced that they were going to do a media encounter on the 25th of August, the very next day. You know, the intention for doing that media encounter the next day after we had announced our manifesto was to turn the attentions of Ghanaians from the NDC manifesto. That was the main reason that they decided to do a media encounter the very next day after we launched our manifesto. But you see, when you do something with devious intention, it backfires on you. When you do something with devious intention, it backfires on you. You know how to tell when somebody is lying. If there are people who are smooth talkers, who can speak rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta like machine gun, the time when they become stammerers and they start stammering, you know they are lying. Somebody who can speak ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta like AK-47, suddenly media encounter, I think,
And that is John Mahama. Also today, the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's also been campaigning and talking about solar power. He says the government, if he wins, will bring on board 200,000 megawatts of power onto the national grid, 2,000 on the national grid from solar. Listen to him.
Power is relatively expensive because we import oil to generate electricity, gas to generate electricity. I want Ghana to take the bold decision to move away from oil and gas and focus on solar power to generate electricity for Ghana. Solar power, for me, holds the key. The good Lord has given us the sun for free. It's shining every day, and we can, we have the technology to harness that solar, that sun for power. I want to add 2,000 megawatts in the next 4 years of solar power, and I believe that all the numbers show that we will be able to bring down the cost of power by 50%.
And this is your election headquarters. It's always brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. SEMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICPA, and SEMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, Youth Break Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development.
And it's time to get out of here, but we're getting ready for the geeks, and the lead geek herself is here. What are we talking about tonight?
This evening we are looking at how we can back up our digital life. This is a part 2. We want to look at WhatsApp, emails, because there are times that people just have their emails full. They don't really know what to do. Want to get into
Mine is full.
Yours is full.
They've told me that on the 28th I won't be able to receive emails or send emails. I'm trying to delete. I've been deleting. It's still not giving me space.
We'll be talking more about that, how you can segregate them, how you can delete, archive, all that. So just stay tuned.